Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on Celes. I'm a big fan of Celes, like just in general, like the character. I love the game. Final Fantasy VI is one of my favorites. And she's always been known for having a cool, unique mechanic within her own game and then other games she appears in, which is the runic mechanic, which I think is very cool, right? So, Celes is going to be one of those more situational characters that when her mechanic works, she's ridiculous. When her mechanic doesn't apply to the fight, she's just okay. Like, she's a cool character still. But she can definitely help you in some really hard fights because she will literally just shut the enemies down. And we'll talk about what that runic mechanic is and how it works. But we're going to go ahead. We'll start with the artifacts. Then we're going to look at spheres, and then we'll jump into that showcase here. So for artifacts, she's a very simple character. Attack 108, max brave 330. Pretty easy, cut and dry. Then we are going to go to the spheres. So for spheres, she's got an A slot, she's got a B slot, and she's got a D slot. So she has a pretty unique variety of spheres. So A spheres are the attack spheres, B are the tanking spheres, and then D are like the buffing spheres. So she's got a little bit, so she's very much like a utility type character. She doesn't have, I would say, one defined role because she can do okay damage. She's got healing, she does some tanking, she does a little bit of everything, right? So for the A sphere, you just want to focus on attack or brave damage. And magic attack works well. She is a magic damage dealer. I know she has a sword, but she is magic damage. Max brave can be okay on her as well. There's some battery in her kit. So that's all decent as well there, right? So I just went with a very simple one. I just went with a raises max magic attack, so it raises magic attack by 6%. Any of that would be fine. Aerith is actually a pretty darn good one if you have Aerith. I believe hers is also a big fat magic attack buff one, which I actually do have like a full Aerith one I could throw on, but I don't know if Celes is the character I want to put it on. I'd want to put on like a big time magic damage dealer like Vaughn or Terra or something, right? So I haven't quite decided where I'm going to put that one. Then in the B slot, her own sphere isn't bad, but it's better for like faster characters that get more turns. I think you could do. Some people recommend Gladio. I'm not a big fan of Gladios, so Gladios is a good one. Let me show you Gladios here really quick. Oh, there it was. Hold up, get back. Did I just hold on? Here we go. Gladios down here. So Gladios. I think this is one of the only B slots that does like a party attack buff, which is why I think it's recommended. But you have to take HP damage, and I don't like things that require you to take HP damage. I like to feel like I'm safe in fights, and I don't want to feel like I want to be required to take damage for something to trigger, but it is good because it is a party attack buff. Another one I want to shout out is Gabronth. I think Gabronth just has a really cool sphere. Like his sphere can go on anybody basically. So anyone that's got a B slot basically reduces the party's brave damage taken by 10%. This is for the full one. That's just a really cool one if you want to make your entire party just a little bit tankier, right? I opted for Snow. Snow's, I believe the co-op for Snow is still out right now, so you could refine these right now if you want to. I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just when you are targeted, raise your attack by 4%. Celes is a lock-on character, so she will have the enemies lock on her. So she would just basically constantly have this 4% attack buff, which I like. And that's for the refined one. You could go crazy and put the full one on if you really like Celes. But I like Snow's there. And then in the D slot, Waka works on her because she does have a lot of buffs going around. So you could throw Wakas on there. Probably my favorite D slot just for like generic for pretty much any character in the game is Ashe. And I've recommended Ashe before. Definitely, like, if she's around, I think actually, because I have a bunch of hers refined right now. Hold on, let me see. How many Ashes do I have right now? I'm pretty sure I refined a bunch. Okay, so I've got 5 of them. I might go in and refine some more because I think that co-op is still up right now because I think Ashe was somewhat recently featured. But yeah, Ashe is really good because it's just when you grant a buff, which basically every character in the game now grants a buff. Granting a buff doesn't mean like you buff your party necessarily. It just means you apply a buff to yourself. And what character doesn't have a buff of some kind they're applying? So every character can do this, and it just raises party attack. So Ashe to me is just a really good one, especially if you just don't know what to throw on there. But anything that's going to buff the party attack in some way or buff the party, throw on there. Okay, so let's hop into the showcase. Celes really isn't that complicated, and she's actually pretty fun. So we're going to hop into our usual here. We'll do the use here. No friend. We don't need friends for this. We got this. We got this. So basically what Celes is all about, she's about tanking with her runic ability. So basically what her runic ability does is she absorbs magic attacks. So any attack that is magic based, she actually absorbs it and therefore takes no damage and actually absorbs it as brave to herself. She's actually like getting brave back, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do is let's start with this. And then we'll actually use, we're not going to swap because we need Freya to get a turn here. So we'll do that, and then we'll just pop her LD, do some big damage. And then we'll get Freya up in the air, and then we'll get Celes going. So, Celes in her kit has 2 ways to apply the runic ability, which it's called Brave Magic Absorb is what they call it, but like in Final Fantasy VI, it's called runic. So that's what the buff is essentially doing. And so when you have runic on, let me do this really quick. Any magic attacks that come towards Celes will be absorbed, which is pretty cool. So that's the part where I'm talking about where if Celes works in a fight, she's ridiculous. So if you're doing a fight, which I believe the new Bahamut fight is magic based, right? That's how they're trying to sell her to you. She literally lock them out because any single target attack, she's got them locked on, and she literally can't take damage from it, right? But if you're doing physical damage to enemies, her tanking is literally useless. So then you're just relying on the rest of her kit. And the rest of her kit isn't bad, but when you think of other characters you could be putting in that slot, there's probably something better. So you're pretty much using Celes when her runic ability is going to be active, right? So Celes here, she doesn't normally start with a free action. That's coming from Rem's LD. So don't worry about that. So we'll show the AA, I guess, since we got it for free here. So the AA will put lock on. So if you're just in a tight spot and you need to get them locked on, you can use that. But she's naturally going to be doing that through her runic attack, right? So normally what you want to do, though, is you do want to open with the LD freeze dive. The other thing that Celes has in her kit is she does have ice damage, and then she ice enchants herself, and she enchants the party as well, and then she imperils. So that is her other good use, is she does have an elemental enchant imperil, which can definitely be useful, right? And then that is coming from the magic attack. So from using her LD, it is putting a debuff on the enemies. That's basically like a trap. When the enemies take a turn, that trap will tick. They take ice damage and it heals the party. So it's an off-turn heal, just like what Freya does, which is pretty cool, right? So let's go ahead and do this. Take those spheres in the air. All right, and let's swap over. We'll take Celes back. Okay, and then honestly from here, like there's no set rotation. You just use whatever you need when you need it, right? So we'll start showing these off. It's just so you guys can kind of see what she's doing here. So we'll start with maybe Runic. And I just want to double... Yeah, and Runic is a free turn. So I'm pretty sure it's a free turn. Let me double check. I don't know if I just am getting the speed up here. But I think it is. Yeah, it is. Instant turn rate. Yep. So we're going to use Runic. So this also applies lock. Gives herself a little battery. She does get an attack on the end there. So you see her damage isn't crazy. That was like 279k. But the lock is important because she's getting the lock and then she's getting the magic absorb buff from that, right? Then we'll use Shine Edge. I know I've got the EX up. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's use Shine Edge. Shine Edge is basically like when you're not using an LD or an EX and you don't need Runic. Like this is just basically your main attack. Okay, so we'll go ahead and throw Shine Edge down. So we'll do that. And it does do like a burst heal, like an 80% heal. So between her LD also does a burst heal when you use it. So between the LD, you've got basically the traps from the LD healing, and then she's got the burst heal just on that Shine attack, that Shine Edge. You're good to go, right? And then her EX, which will, let's get Freya back up in the air here. Her EX does do like a lot better damage now, so you typically do want to use the EX when it's up because she's C90 now. So you want to use the EX, and then the EX does have a buff that you can refresh. So there are important buffs that come from the EX. And then, Shine Edge also gives herself HP regen. So there are some orbs that maybe have, take on HP regen. So a lot of HP coming from her kit. Let's go and do this. We'll do that. Okay. Yep, we'll do all that. But let's show off the EX here. So this EX should do some pretty darn good damage. Yeah, that was like 800k. So that's where she's really getting her damage, just from the EX. And it is a very fast charging EX. You can see she's already like halfway charged. So I think she just does like one turn and she's going to get it again right away. Which I do like when they build characters like that, right? Because Celes is more of a utility type character, right? Like she's got attacks in her kit that are more meant to be for tanking and like set things up. So it's nice to have that powerful EX come up quite often, right? So now here Celes is up again. Let's just do a Shine Edge in between. And I think we should already be pretty close to the EX being up again. Yeah, almost up, right? So it's like, you know, she'll take like 2 turns and the EX will be up. But by the time her turn comes back up, I think she'll have it again. Yep, so now her EX is up. So yeah, we can just swap back into her. EX is ready to go. And we'll just throw down that 800k blast. And we'll do that. So she does have a bit of damage. And because that EX is so fast charging, she's going to be doing okay. And between her utility, that she is a very fun character, right? So that's basically it. That's Celes. Like, you basically start off with that LD. Use what you need based on the situation, but you're just filling in with that Shine Edge attack, using the EX as it comes up, which you're going to be using that EX quite a bit. And then just refreshing the EX buff. You're going to refresh the LD buff when you need to. Make sure you got the enemies locked when you need them. It's just about managing all the debuffs and managing her buffs and making sure that you know where she is. But that's basically it. Celes is a fun, pretty easy character to play. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy VI, definitely pick her up. She's going to be really useful in some of these fights, like as a niche character that can just lock out the magic attacks. Now, these enemies in particular, we'll let them get a turn here, but I'm pretty sure they've been pretty much straight up physical attacks. But we'll see. We'll see if we can get an absorb here, but I don't know that these guys are doing magic attacks. But they're both locked onto her. Let's see. Here, this might be, nope. That was physical. Took no damage either way, but yeah, same thing. Yeah, I think these are strictly physical attackers. But all you would see different is if she was taking a magic attack, the numbers popping up would be green and she'd just be gaining Brave off of it. So pretty wild there. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other questions about Celes. I like her. I think she's a fun character. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.